Conducting virtual business meetings can be an incredibly efficient and streamlined way to bring many different people together for one meeting when it would be impractical to do it in a physical location. Today, I'd like to explain how to do that using Zoom. Hi there, I'm Mark from Valor XL. Thank you so much for joining me today. Zoom is well known, it's an incredibly popular platform, and it really came to prominence in 2020, a time when suddenly so many businesses and individuals were plunged into a scenario where they couldn't meet in person. And so Zoom was one of a myriad of options that really became prevalent. It enabled people to connect virtually. And so some people have at least a basic understanding of Zoom. But today I want to present a beginner's guide for people who do want to use Zoom in a business capacity. The functionality is very similar to what you might do if you were just conducting a Zoom call with family or friends, but some of the protocols are a little bit different. There are certain things that it's extremely important to think about when you're meeting via Zoom in a business setting as opposed to a personal one. So let's dive right in and take a look at using Zoom for virtual business meetings. All right. Now, one thing I did want to mention before you join any Zoom meeting, it's always a good idea to make sure that your desktop is clear prior to joining. You never know on a Zoom call when you might be asked to present. They may want you to share your screen. And if your desktop has a lot of folders, icons, and files open, it can look pretty terrible. So the way you make sure that you don't have anything on your desktop in a PC is to right-click and go under View and make sure that Show Desktop Icons is deselected. Because if it's selected, you might have something like that, which looks really bad, and that definitely looks a whole lot cleaner. Now, obviously, if you're going to be hosting a Zoom call, you do need to have a Zoom account. You can click on the link in the video description and go out to the Zoom site. You can sign up for free for Zoom. It's a very quick and easy setup, but I did want to mention, when you set up a free account through Zoom, one of the disadvantages is you are limited to hosting calls that are no longer than 40 minutes in length. Now, there is a workaround for that. At about 35 minutes in, you can let your participants know that the call will be timing out soon and that everyone will need to dial back in, so you can kind of do multi-part calls. It's not the greatest solution, but for a free tool, it works out fine. Definitely check out their various pricing options, look at the different tiers. As you do move up through them, you have a lot more functionality and you can have more attendees to your call. But once you have actually set up Zoom and you have the Zoom icon on your desktop, you can go ahead and launch it. Now, at this point, this gives us the ability to join a meeting. So if we were invited, we could simply go into a meeting from here. But this is also where you sign into your Zoom account. So we'll go ahead and click on Sign In, and you enter your email address and your password. You also have the ability to use one of these other options, but we'll go with the Zoom credentials here. All right, now when we click on Sign In, this will take you to the Zoom homepage. First of all, it will display the date and time here. If you had any currently scheduled Zoom meetings, they'd be displayed right here. We don't have anything scheduled at the moment. You also have these other options here. Now, you can simply start a meeting real time by just clicking on New Meeting. And from there, you can gradually bring people into your meeting. You have the ability to click here to join a meeting, as long as you have a meeting ID that you can put in. You have the ability to share your screen. Maybe you've been asked to present something briefly during a meeting, and you would click here, put the ID in, and be able to access the meeting to do that. But you also have the ability to schedule meetings using a calendar option. But let's come up here first and look at what it would be like to simply create a meeting on the fly. So if you click on New Meeting, it will go ahead and open up this dialog box. Now, anytime that you are starting or joining a Zoom meeting, you will always get an option like this. It will first of all say join with computer audio, but underneath it says test speaker and microphone. I think it's a great rule of thumb anytime you're getting ready to join a Zoom call. Make sure that your audio and video are set the way that you need them to be. The worst thing you can do is get into a call, especially one that has a lot of other people in attendance, only to discover that you can't hear them, they can't hear you, there's something crazy going on with your camera. The time to iron all of that out is before you're on the call. So what you can do here is click on Test Speaker and Microphone. It's playing a ringtone. Yes, I can hear it. I am recording. I clicked on yes, so there, I could hear it. I heard the playback of the recording of me speaking into the microphone. It's telling me that my device is working properly, and so I can end the test. So at this point now, I will go ahead and join with computer audio. Now, you'll notice down here in the lower left-hand corner, there is a microphone icon, and there's also a camera icon. The camera icon right now has a red diagonal line through it, meaning that the camera is off. I can click to toggle to the camera being on, and then I can turn the camera back off again. Now, I can do the same thing with the microphone. During the call, I can click to mute it and click to unmute it. And if I click beside the microphone, it gives me the option here to select which microphone I would like to use. Now, I'm using a laptop right now that has a built-in webcam, but I'm also using an external webcam, and I have an audio interface connected to my computer with a microphone plugged into it. So I could select whichever one of those I wanted to use. Now, if I come down here under Audio Settings, that will kind of give me a little bit more in-depth of a option than what we had in that dialog box when we first signed in. I can test the speaker, and if it's not loud enough or if it's too loud, I can make adjustments here. This is a very strong cautionary note. Make sure that you don't have the volume level of your playback speakers too loud during a call. If you do, your microphone will pick up other people talking. That will feed back into the call, and it creates all kinds of havoc. Again, you can test the mic, and you have the ability here to select which microphone you're using. This is the input level as I'm speaking, and right now I have this set for automatically adjust microphone volume. If you deselect that, you can simply drag this back and forth to set everything to a level that you think is good for the call. Suppress background noise, I'm keeping at auto. That will do what it can to minimize things like air conditioners, people talking in the next room, dogs barking, things like that. And that's really all that we need to do under audio. Now, video, which I can also access down here by clicking on the arrow, same scenario. This is giving me the camera option here. I can pick whatever it is that I'd like to use. And right now it says mirror my video. So this is how I would see myself on the screen during a call. And it's a mirror image, basically, of what is actually being picked up by the camera. If I deselect, it just inverts it. You'll also notice here that I have blurred my background, and I'll show you why. If I get rid of the blurring, I have a lot of junk back here. It's not the greatest environment for a background, so I can add one of these stylized backgrounds, but I like to just go with blur. Just makes a nice soft focus back there. And that's really all we need to do for the audio and the video setup. So at this point now, I could start bringing other people into the call. Because again, I'm just doing this on the fly. We just initiated this down here under participants. It still just says 1. I'm the only person on the call. If I click on the arrow beside this, I can click on invite and select people from my contacts, but I can also click on copy invite link, and I can paste that link into an email and send it out to whoever I would like to join the call. So that's another option. But I'll show you something else that we can do, And I think this is a much better way to do a call, and that's to schedule one. And if you click on schedule here, it will open up this dialog box. Now you have the ability to name your meeting or to describe what the topic is. We'll say it's a Zoom test call. It will default to the current date. When you click on the drop down, you have access to this calendar. You can also toggle to previous or future months. You can select the start time for your call and the duration. Again, remember, if you are on a Zoom free basic plan, you only have 40 minutes for the call. You also want to make sure that the time zone is set correctly for the time zone that you are in so that other participants will appropriately join at the correct time. If this is a recurring meeting that you'll be doing every week, let's say it's always going to be on Mondays, you could select recurring meeting, and whatever you've selected up here will perpetuate as you go forward. Now, there is a meeting ID that is unique. There's also one that can be generated automatically. Just let it set for that. Under security, this is to just give an extra layer of protection. There is a security passcode, and people need to either have the invite link that you send them or this passcode to join the meeting. Now, also you'll notice that waiting room is checked here. Waiting room is something that I think is extremely important in a business Zoom meeting, because if you deselect this, anyone who has access to that link or to that passcode can simply come bursting into your call. With waiting room, people will go into that holding area, and then you have the ability to take a look and see, are these the people I actually invited to the call? And that way, if someone unexpected or unrecognized shows up, you can deal with it in the waiting room rather than in the middle of the call itself, which could be pretty chaotic. I usually go ahead and let video set to off for host and participants, so it will need to be manually turned on when you join. You can keep audio at computer audio, and this gives you the option to sync this to an Outlook or a Google Calendar. Now, when we go ahead and save this, it is scheduling the meeting, and now on the Zoom main page here, we see that the Zoom call is displayed. So from this point, what I can do is invite people to attend the call. If I click on this ellipsis, I have the ability to edit the invitation or to delete it, but if I click on copy invitation, I can paste this into the body of an email, send it out to whoever I would like to attend the meeting, and what's nice here is it will tell them that I am inviting them to a Zoom meeting. It gives the topic name for the meeting, the date, time, and time zone, the full meeting link, the meeting ID, as well as the passcode. So that's a very easy way to create an invitation to one of your meetings. All right, so when you're ready to launch your call as the host, you can come to your call here and click on Start. It will open up the same dialog box that we saw before. Again, you always want to test your speaker and microphone, but when you're ready, you can join with your computer audio. Because we set video to off, the camera is off right now, but you can click on it, and throughout the call, you can turn it on or off as you wish. This is showing us that there is currently only me participating. There's only one person on the call. But what will happen is, as others are joining, we will see a display indicating that they are coming on as well. All right, and now we have someone else who is joining the call. And because we did set the waiting room up, Stephanie is not in the main call itself. She is in the waiting room. Now, whenever you want to view the waiting room, you can either come down here and click on Participants, which is now showing as 2, but here we can also click on View. And I think it's a good idea before you admit someone, go ahead and go into View. And from this point, if we wanted to, we could go ahead and let her in. If someone joined who was not invited and did not look like an appropriate attendee, you could remove them at this point. You also have the ability to send a message to participants in the waiting room. So for whoever was in there, it's defaulting to waiting room participants, and you could leave a message for them. We'll say, hold on, call starts soon. And then you could simply send that out. So now in our chat, it's indicating that I have sent that message. So everyone in the waiting room would have received that. Now, once you have verified that only correct, appropriate attendees are in that waiting room, then you can go ahead and start to let people in. So we'll let Stephanie come in since we did send an invite to her. And now she has joined. So what will happen is, as other participants are admitted into the call, they will be displayed here. If their camera is on, you will actually see them. If it's off, you will just see their name, and it will continue to fill up with participants as they join. Now, right now, if you come to the upper right-hand corner and click on View, this is set on Gallery View, and that will basically display everyone who is currently in attendance for the call. But there could be situations where you have more attendees than will fit on the screen. And in that scenario, it can sometimes be helpful to select Speaker. And what will happen is whoever is currently speaking will be displayed in the largest frame, and everyone else that will fit will be shown much smaller. So it's really up to you, whatever is most convenient based on the needs of your call. So once everyone has been screened in the waiting room and you've admitted everyone who is an appropriate attendee for the call, a very important step before you move forward is to come down here on Security, click, and come up here and click on Lock Meeting. You'll see a message that says you have locked the meeting. No one else can join. That's a great way to prevent anybody who is uninvited from trying to come in once the meeting actually is underway. Now, during the meeting, you have the ability to send chats, and that can be very helpful. There could be a scenario where you wanted to send a message out to someone, and it's not necessarily for the entire group. Maybe you want someone to get a document ready to present in a minute, and you don't want to announce it because someone else is talking. You could simply come down here, and you have the option to select everyone in the meeting. But let's say I wanted to just send a message to Stephanie. I could click here and type a message to her. And we'll say, get the document ready to present. So now she will receive that. She knows that I'm going to have her share her screen pretty soon. Just a handy communication tool during a meeting. Now you do have the ability to share your screen, and by doing that, you'll basically be enabling everyone else to see whatever document you happen to be looking at, or website, or whatever it is that you want to show the rest of the meeting. When you click on Share Screen, it will give you an option to select what it is that you want to share. And if I select Screen, now it's basically showing everything that I'm seeing on my monitor. So everyone participating in the meeting can see this. And I can toggle over here to my desktop. That's why it's important to make sure you don't have a lot of icons and a lot of clutter on there. But basically, just toggling back and forth, they'll see whatever I display. When I'm done, I can click on Stop Share, and then we just go back to the standard format. Now, the one other thing that you can do during a meeting that can be really helpful is you can send out a poll in a scenario where you have a lot of people in attendance on a call, and you want to be able to ask a question or multiple questions, and there's no way to do it because there are just too many people involved. You can click Create, and this enables you to give a name to your poll. We'll just call it Zoom Test Poll. And then here you can type in your questions. And I'm saying, is the information we're providing adequate for your needs? And then you can provide the answers. We'll give them the option to say, yes, it is, or no, it's not. You could add additional choices depending on what the question is. This will default to giving them just a single choice answer. You could also select multiple choice if appropriate, and you can add additional questions. So I'll go ahead and save that. All right, and now we have our saved poll here. And now on our call, we can launch the poll. And so everyone in attendance will receive this poll, and they'll have the ability to go ahead and respond to it. And as they respond, you will see the responses displayed here real time. We'll see how many people answered yes and how many people answered no. You can keep the poll open for as long as you would like, and when you want to close it, simply click on End Poll. And then if you'd like, you can share the results of the poll with everyone in attendance, because you are the only one seeing this right now until you click on Share Results. Now they all can see the results of the poll until you stop sharing. And really the last component that I wanted to cover here is simply ending a call. When you're completely done, you can click on End, and you have an option to end meeting for all or leave meeting. Now, there could be scenarios where some of the people in attendance want to carry the conversation on. Maybe there are some takeaways and it's too inconvenient for everyone to try to connect offline. So it may be beneficial to leave and simply let them go ahead and continue to discuss whatever it is that they need to. Most of the time, I think it's a better option to just end meeting for all. Since you are the host, it brings everything to a conclusion, and you just do that by clicking End Meeting for All. And that's how you schedule and host calls in Zoom. Well, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. But when you utilize Zoom for business meetings, always remember that even though you're still conducting a business meeting, doing that in a virtual capacity does carry some challenges with it. One of those can be connectivity, especially if you have a lot of different participants who all may or may not be on the same internet provider. There can be scenarios where people are having less than optimal performance from their audio and video. You can have strange lag, you can have screen freezes and things like that. They're not showstoppers, but it's something to certainly be aware of, and it's a completely different dynamic than what you would encounter in an in-person meeting. I hope it was helpful for you to get a little bit of this background, but I'd like to be able to help you in another way. At Valor XL, we're really committed to doing everything that we can to move you forward with your small business or your nonprofit. And you may not even know whether or not you're on a healthy trajectory to do that. Well, if you click on the link in the description below this video, you can download a free PDF called Taking Your Organization's Temperature. It can be a real eye-opener, and it can jog you to think about some things that maybe haven't crossed your mind before. Are you establishing your business in a way that really is healthy? And if you already have a business in place, are you gaining momentum? Are you moving in the right direction? Taking your organization's temperature can help you to find out. If today's video was helpful to you, would you help us by giving this a like? And in the comments below, let me know other challenges that you have faced in trying to conduct virtual meetings. Also, please subscribe to this channel. We have new content coming on a weekly basis, all of it specifically tailored for small businesses and nonprofits. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Remember, at Valor XL, we're committed to helping you do smart work. Please join me again next time. Until then, goodbye for now.